Hello students, welcome back to your English grammar class. In my previous session I started with this chapter tenses, and in the previous video I have shared everything what comes under present tense. So now today this is the second part of the video and I'll be continuing with past tense. So let's start with simple past tense. Like I told you, anything which happened before comes under past. So how does what is the sentence structure? Subject plus verb in the second form plus object. So the simple past tense is used for an action which happened at a particular time in the past. When is this used? When an action had happened in the at a particular time in the past, like it expresses an action that took place in the past. For example, if I say she abused him, they went to Delhi yesterday, all this indicates that these actions are done in the past. It also denotes a habitual action in the past, a habitual action. She worked in the school for 8 hours a day, so that is her habitual action. Moving on to the sentence structures of affirmative, negative, interrogative and interrogative negative sentences. Affirmative sentence, the sentence structure is like first the subject plus the verb in the second form plus other words. So for example, I have given I played a match. So here I is the subject, played is the second form of the verb, and a match comes under other words. Same way, if you in the affirmative sentence, second form of the verb is used. That is what you have to remember. In a negative sentence, the sentence structure is subject plus did plus not plus verb in the first form plus other words. So it goes like I did not play a match. I subject, did not play verb in the first form and other words. So in this, after the subject, did not and the first form of the verb are used. You have to remember this point, that after the subject, did not and the first form of the verb are used. Moving on to the interrogative sentence. As I told you in my previous video also, that interrogative, everything, the first comes the helping verb. It always starts with the helping verb. Helping verb did is placed before the subject and the first form of the verb is used after the subject. So this is the interrogative sentence where helping verb is used before the placed before the subject and first form of the word is used after the subject. Did I play a match? Did. Play, I subject, play first form, subject के बाद we have put this first form or match. Now interrogative negative has the same sentence structure, but there you have to add a not between the subject and the verb in the first form. To make interrogative negative sentences, helping verb did is placed before the subject and not comes after the subject. So did I not play a did I not play a match? Again, I'm repeating interrogative sentences. Subject, did, subject, verb in the first form, other words. Interrogative negative, did, subject, plus not, plus verb in the first form, plus other words. So in interrogative negative sentence, verb did is placed before the subject and not comes after the subject. You cannot put, and you have to put not after the subject like you did in previous thing also. I hope this much is clear. Let's move on to past continuous tense. Past continuous tense. Subject plus was were. Here you use the verb, helping verb was and were plus verb in the first form plus ing plus object. The past continuous tense is used for an action which was happening at a particular time in the past. Past continuous tense is used to denote an action or an activity that was in progress in the past, means it was happening in the past. It is if I give you one example, Sita was cooking food. She was cooking food. Cooking means she was doing that work at that time. So that comes under past continuous. It is also used with simple past tense to denote that an activity was in progress while another took place. Okay, you can use this while one activity was in progress and another took place. For example, if I tell you Rakesh was reading when his father came from the market. So this Rakesh was reading and the other action is the father came from the market. Moving on to the sentence structure of affirmative sentence. Subject plus was verb plus verb in the first plus ing plus other words. Boy is the subject, was verb means verb we'll use, verb play and we'll add ing to it, so that becomes playing, and other words football. Helping verb was were are used according to the subject with first form of the verb plus ing. Okay, helping verb was were is used and first form of the verb plus ing means if it is play then it becomes playing. You add ing to the verb. Negative sentence. Again, in negative sentences, not is placed between the helping verb and the present participle, that is first form plus ing of the main verb. So the sentence structure is like subject plus was verb plus not plus verb in the first form plus ing plus other words. So boys were not playing football. Same sentence as the affirmative, but you put a not in between what? The helping verb and the action verb. Moving on to the interrogative sentence. In the interrogative sentence, the helping verb was were is put before the subject everywhere. This is by default. Was were plus subject plus verb plus ing plus other words plus question mark. Question mark over here is again very important. That shows interrogation. Was were will use were the boys playing football. Interrogative negative. Again, here also was were subject, not verb in the first form plus ing plus other words and question mark is very important. In it, the helping verb was were is put before the subject and not is placed after the subject. Helping verb is placed before the subject and not is placed after the subject. That is what you need to remember. So the sentence goes like, were the boys not playing football? Moving on to the past perfect tense. Subject plus had plus verb in the third form plus object. So in past perfect you use the verb had. The past perfect tense is used to express an action that was completed before another action started in the past. So past perfect means the before one action is completed and the another is going to start. It is used when the earlier with the earlier of the two actions. So the past perfect tense expresses an action that has already been completed in the past before the beginning of the other action. Let's see the sentence structure. Affirmative, again subject plus had plus verb in the third form. Here the verb comes in the third form plus other words. Sheila had played the video game. Sheila is the subject, had played is the third form of the word, and other words comes under the video game. The video game comes under the other words. Again, the helping verb had and the third form of the verb are used in the subjects with all the subjects. Okay, so if I give you one example, someone had stolen my lunchbox before the lunch time started. Moving on to the negative sentence. Same, you just add not in between had and the verb form. In it we use not after had. In this sentence, in this kind of sentence structure, we use not after had. Sheila had not played the video game. Interrogative sentence, again question mark very important, and make sure that the had is put at first. Had plus subject plus verb in the third form plus other words plus question mark. Sheila had played the video game. So had is the helping verb, Sheila is the subject, played is the third form of the verb, and other words and question mark is very important. Interrogative negatives, had plus verb in the third form. Here I think there is a little error where I have forgotten to put had plus subject plus not plus verb in the third form plus other words. So here you need to add not to show negation, like how I have added. So in the sentence structure, make sure the sentence structure goes like had plus subject plus verb in had plus subject plus not plus verb in the third form plus other words. Had Sheila not played the video game? So as you see below, had Sheila subject, then you put not in between subject and verb in the third form and other words. Please make sure that you make this correction when you are viewing this video. There should be a not in between subject and verb. Again I'm repeating, there should be a not in between subject and verb in the third form to show negation in interrogative negative sentences. Please rectify this mistake, and sorry for it. Moving on to past perfect continuous tense. Here subject plus had plus been plus verb in the first form plus object. Here one thing you add is had been, you add with the verb. The past perfect continuous tense expresses an action in the past which was going on with respect to a given reference of the time in the past. This kind of expresses an action in the past which was going on with respect to the given reference of time in the past. Say it is also used to denote an action that begin before the time of speaking in the past. It is also used to denote a repeated action in the past. So it can be used for all of these. Moving on to the sentence structure. Affirmative sentence, subject plus had plus been plus verb in the first plus ing, for, since plus other words. So this one we use had, been and present participle with all the subject. So Riaz had been reading a novel for 2 months. Riaz subject, had been reading is for read, and you put ing against it, so it becomes reading a novel for 2 months. Then you go on to negative structure. Subject plus had plus not plus been plus verb in the first form plus ing plus for, since plus other words. Riaz had not been reading a novel for 2 months. You just put a not. In negative sentence, not is used between had and been. Had not been. Okay. So it goes like Riaz had not been reading a novel for 2 months. Interrogative sentence, had plus subject plus been plus verb in the first form plus ing plus for, since plus other words. Had Riaz been reading this novel since Monday? So had produces the subject and been follows it. Okay. Here had, again you have to put the helping verb first. So had, Riaz is the subject, been and reading this novel, reading is the fourth form, and since you've put before Monday. Interrogative negative sentence, had plus subject plus not plus been plus verb in the first form, you add ing to it, plus for or since plus other words plus question mark. Riaz had not been reading this novel since yesterday. So I think if you add not between Riaz and been, then again it can change into negative sentence. These sentences are formed using had before the subject and not after the subject. So you have to remember that if you want to make an interrogative negative sentence, then you have to use had before the subject and not after the subject. I hope you all have understood the simple the past tense, all the 4 topics under past tense very well, and I'll be sharing the third part of this chapter in which I will be covering future tense. That I'll share you in my next session. For now, you can be thorough with the first part and the second part. The first, that is the present tense, and second, that is the past tense. I hope you all have understood. In case if you all have any queries, you all can contact me. Thank you.